Let's talk about your body position when you're centering on the wheel. The first thing is the wheel height. Most wheels are about 20 inches high, and that's made for like an average height person. So if you are taller than average or shorter than average, you'll probably need to make adjustments so it fits you. If you're taller, you'll need to prop it up. Sometimes that's as easy as just putting a couple of 2x4s or a brick underneath each leg to give it a couple more inches. And then if you're shorter, then, I mean, if it's your own wheel in your own studio, you could cut the legs down, but a more common way to do that would be to prop yourself up. But what you want is essentially, you want the wheel head, which is the flat surface, to be about even with your hips. And you should be able to, when you're in your throwing position with your head over the clay, your arms should be almost horizontal. Actually, depending on how I set them, that's almost horizontal. But it's nice to have a little bit of downward angle because otherwise your arms will hit this splash pan. And there are quite a few potters that actually use the splash pan to brace on. And I'm not going to tell you not to do that, but I don't prefer it because it kind of hurts. If you're using that all the time right there on that spot, then it's kind of a lot to put that part of your body through. It's bony. And then you're also relying on something that on a lot of wheels can be a little more flexible. So I like to just use my body so that if I'm on a different wheel and the splash pan's deeper or shallower or stronger or less strong or further away from the wheel, I don't have to then adapt to the splash pan. I'm just using my body. In my case, I have my wheel propped up higher because I'm 6'4", so I need to bring it up to me. And then you'll see that my legs are level, my thighs are level, and they're just a little bit above the wheel head as well. So again, if you're shorter, you'd want to put blocks under your feet to stand up higher. And then also, if you're using a pedal system, which most people are, this happens to be not a pedal, it's a hand operated tabletop wheel. But if you are using a pedal, then your right foot will be up on the pedal, so it will be raised. And then you'll have a disparity. So you'll want to get a block for this leg to raise it up so that they match, right? And then the other thing is your stool or your seat height. I mean, I'm throwing in my boat, so you can see I'm actually just on this vinyl couch, which is like a pretty uncommon way to throw. Usually you would use a stool of some sort, and a lot of times they'll have a stool with a seat that tips forward. Just a little bit of angle. That kind of allows you to have a shift in your body weight forward toward the clay. So I'm sitting on a yoga mat on my couch because that raises my body up to the right height. Because otherwise, if I was sitting down lower, then my knees will be up like this, and then they kind of can get in the way a little bit. Although sometimes I will like kind of go up on the ball of my foot like this if I feel like I need to get more leverage, like more bracing with that arm, especially like in centering. But in general, you want these to be nice and level, and you want to adjust the height of your seat to get you where like you would put, like this would be where your belt line is. You want your belt line pretty close to level with the wheel head. And the goal is that you can be able to put your head over the clay like this, have your elbow tucked into your body, and then have your hand rest nicely around your ball of clay. And probably the last thing to consider is where your stool is forward and backward to the wheel. With most of my students, they're shorter, so I almost always tell them to push their chair all the way up so it's touching the wheel, and then slide your body all the way forward so your legs are around the wheel and you are close to the wheel. Because if you have a shorter arm, then that's what you need. See, now my arms are super long, so if I do that, then I can't tuck my elbow. So I actually have to scoot back a little bit so that I can then tuck my elbow and get it the right distance away from the ball of clay. But that's something that you can adjust based on your own height, and we all have different length arms. But make sure that you can brace your elbow, lean your head over the clay, and then still reach just to the ball of clay like that. And then the last thing is, and I'm terrible at this, so do as I say, not as I do. You're not bending over like this. I mean, I'm 6'4", so I've always kind of been slouching, so I can kind of see eye level with everyone else. But you don't want to roll your back. You really want to keep your back straight up, and in this case, so I would scoot back more so that I can hinge at the waist. I'm also not a doctor or a physical therapist, so I'm not giving you, ergonomics advice here. But that way you be able to tuck your elbow in and then lean your body over with your back still being supported like that. So right here is about ideal. And then if you can tuck both elbows, that's great. Head straight over the wheel, and there you go. And then it's really the same position for throwing. You're just gonna, well, in this case, I'll shift my arm back a little bit so I can do my hand here, and then my other hand will be here, thumbs connected, and I'll be using them like this, and I kind of chicken wing my arms so that they're braced into my body, and you're coming up like this.